welcome back everyone to the Devil's Advocate podcast. This is a different edition of the Bayern Munich vs Manchester United preview. Obviously, we're outside Old Trafford. See Eric Ten Hag behind us. Obviously, massive game coming up today. Obviously, our hopes for Champions League are really hinging on this game. We need a few favours. Obviously, Joe with Copenhagen and Galatasaray playing later on. So I thought, look, there's no better time than one of the biggest games of the season to kind of do different type of podcasts outside the ground that we love. Obviously joined by Darragh today. How are you, Darragh?
I'm all good, man. Thanks for having me.
First time meeting Darragh in person, by the way, so it's a good way to kind of do an impromptu pod. First of all, Darragh, obviously we were on obviously the Bayern preview the other day. So we've kind of talked about kind of how the season's gone so far and how inconsistent we've been. When you look into today's game, obviously there's a very big week coming up. Obviously today against Bayern at home in Liverpool, obviously on Sunday. So is Eric Ten Hag under pressure now, considering the way recent results have gone, the recent inconsistencies? Do you think these two big games could be make or break for Eric Ten Hag's tenure at Manchester United?
Naturally enough, the media will put him under pressure though. That's the starting point. The media will always put him under pressure because, of course, being the Manchester United manager, one of the biggest clubs in the world, you're going to be under pressure to perform anyway. Again, two big games itself. I suppose if the Bournemouth game had gone a different way, even if it was a different performance, his job wouldn't be as pressurised right now. Of course, two big games, as we've both said. It's hard to tell. I think it depends on the demeanour of the performance as well, because the players can easily just turn up now tonight, give a decent performance, still lose, but still a good performance, give a good showing that the manager still has their backing. But if they just fail to show up for tonight and against Liverpool on Sunday, you kind of fear for the worst, really.
Yeah, 100%. I think it comes down to performance, but also as well, I think the one thing the club do is that they always make a financial decision, and right now, obviously, Jim Ratcliffe's takeover, there's a lot of uncertainty with this takeover. But I think naturally right now, if you go out tonight, we do have a bad result at Anfield on Sunday. I think there's a lot of pressure on the manager. I think maybe the one thing that may save him is the fact that with so much uncertainty with the takeover, do the Glazers maybe decide, this is Jim Ratcliffe's decision rather than the decision of themselves. I think that's probably one of the main things.
I think, being honest, you made the point there. I don't think they would have made the decision themselves based on the fact that the uncertainty of the takeover or the 25% stake, whichever way you want to put it. I genuinely feel that Ineos, again, the football is a result-based business, and Eric Ten Hag himself will know that. I suppose with Ineos coming in, they might actually say, look, we'll give it to the end of the season. If his results still aren't improving, maybe it's time to switch up and do something different. Obviously, we know ourselves what they're saying about the whole sporting control side of it, whether they'll actually have proper side recruitment, whether they'll have full control, whether Joe Glazer will actually have his say in the transfers still. It's all up in the air, but I genuinely feel Ineos and Jim Ratcliffe will probably give him to the end of the season.
Yeah, 100%. I do think, there's a lot of uncertainty as to what this sporting direction is, but I do think if they're going into it at 11 head, I do think Eric Ten Hag does have to keep his job definitely until the end of the season. I do think he has that credit in the bank. I think finishing third in the league last year, winning the Carabao Cup and getting to the FA Cup final and losing that on moments. So I do think Eric Ten Hag definitely deserves to keep his job, but also I think deserves some time under a new regime, because we know how bad this regime is. But we're kind of talking about tonight, obviously, those big talking points as the team selection for United tonight. Obviously, in midfield we have, I suppose, limited options. So Scott McTominay scored a lot of goals as of late. He's our top goal scorer. But consequently, from a defensive side of things, he seems to be, quite lacking in that department.
Allowing the midfield to cut open as well.
Yeah, it's getting cut open. So should Scott McTominay keep his place? Considering when you look at one side, do you think the ends justify the means? Him scoring goals, or do you see it there like Kobe Mainoo maybe coming into the team to maybe give us a bit more balance?
I suppose if you're looking at him from the goals perspective, in fact, no, without Bruno in the game against Liverpool, that's not too far ahead. You kind of think if he's more justifiably so within the more advanced role, maybe you look at that for Sunday. But for tonight, you kind of have to think smart. You have to think what the best tactic-wise it would be. And I think we both agreed ourselves on the pod the other night. Kind of enamored with Mainoo kind of double pivot. I can't remember where I saw it on social media, but someone mentioned how the best thing is really get to Casemiro Eriksen double pivots as we had last season. in the current state we have with the lack of players available and everything, is Manu. So I think that's the best option in midfield from a solid standpoint, because Manu does simple football, something we all just need to see the basics of. Really, some of the players aren't even showing that right now. So
yeah, 100%. Do think we're lacking a lot of control in midfield, and I think like Scott McTominay scoring goals at the moment is all well and good, but the problem we have with it is, from a defensive point of view, in transition, we're getting done, especially against a Bayern team that's going to have the likes of Musiala, Goretzka, then even maybe Thomas Muller coming into the side as well with his experience. I think that's the issue we may have. In terms of, like, if we're looking at it from a defensive point of view, obviously, Harry Maguire's played really well recently. Obviously, Luke Shaw, he's come back into the side, he's done well at left back against Everton, but obviously as well last week against Bournemouth, a bit of a disappointing performance in centre half. Obviously, this is probably our biggest game of the season. We have one of the most experienced centre halves in world football in Raphael Varane. Do you think Raphael Varane should come back into the team this week, or do you think maybe like, what do you think in terms of balance? Think Maguire, Varane, maybe Varane, Shaw, like against Man City last season. Where's your head at in terms of kind of the centre back pairs and also overall the back four?
I suppose back four, you kind of think Luke Shaw has to go back to left back, because that's where he's at his best creativity, or with his creativity. Centre back here, I don't think anyone can drop Maguire right now, just going on the floor. So that's to me to kind of think of who's more favourable and when to go back to that centre back. So I think. Here. But I suppose in terms of putting your best players forward and everything, you kind of have to look at it in perspective of, you might have to play Maguire left centre back where he favoured himself more, in order to put Raphael Varane back in right centre back just for tonight, because I do feel, as I said in the pod there Sunday night, I hope against hope that the whole dropping of Varane is waiting for the centre back race to come back in. I hope against hope. Nobody really knows the answer to that. So. And then right back, I'm a sucker for Dalot. I have my rose-tinted glasses on sometimes when I talk about him, because I know them since Jose Mourinho ball. So I can't justify putting Dalot in tonight. I think to give some structure to the defence, add some actual defensive ability to the squad, you have to put him on the side.
Yeah, 100%. I think for me, looking at how good Leroy Sané is on the left-hand side and how direct he is, I think Diogo Dalot positionally, I think he makes too many mistakes. Now look, to be here, Aaron Wan-Bissaka can't get caught, but one thing he does very well is recover very well. And if Diogo Dalot is starting going forward, yes, he might create a couple of chances, but we all know how suspect he is defensively. Final two for you, obviously, with tonight, huge game in the Champions League. Do you actually think Manchester United could do something that hasn't been done in nearly 7 years in terms of Bayern Munich losing a game in the group stage? Do we have any hope? Because we have a lot of good individual brilliance in their team, but we haven't seen so much collective performances. Do you think maybe, the likes of Bruno, maybe Garnacho, or even maybe Marcus Rashford, maybe even off the bench tonight, maybe do something?
It's hard to tell. Like, it's just going off the general performances in the last couple of games. It really is hard to tell. I like to think and believe in our heart and soul we can do it. Because in terms, we went to Bayern, we put in a solid performance for the first half an hour, and we saw what happened there. It wasn't a justifiable 4-3 in Germany, but at the same time, it was a 4-3 nonetheless. It's hard to tell. I'd like to believe we win, but there is that slight doubt in my mind, if I'm being honest.
Yeah, it's a tough one. But we've seen many big performances at Old Trafford under Eric Ten Hag, especially. You look at, I know Chelsea are shit. They're having a lot of problems with their results at the minute, but you look at other games like in the last 12 months, Man City, Arsenal, Liverpool, Old Trafford, like we brought the biggest teams into Old Trafford and done a job on them. We haven't seen that this season, but you'd like to think we can go out and get the 3 points and hope to God that Copenhagen and Galatasaray get a draw. Last one, I know you got a score prediction on the pod the other night, but obviously you're here at Old Trafford now. It's match day. It's a couple of hours before the game. What's your score prediction now?
I know. I suppose they're against Spain, right? But no, I genuinely feel in terms of the score prediction, I'm still going to stick with my original score prediction of 3-2 to United, because goals are there to be had. We've seen that in the Champions League, literally where the Copenhagen game here at Old Trafford a number of weeks ago. I just can't see anything but 3-2. No, I want to say it's 3-2 to United, but it could easily score 3-2 to Bayern as well.
Yeah, I do reckon myself. I do think we'll see goals tonight. my head tells me 3-1 Bayern, but my heart says 2-1 United, and I'm going to go with a Marcus Rashford winner off the bench. I think if you look at the controversy we've seen with him over the last couple of weeks, the stories, I think, look, if you look at the big games last year, he was someone who came in clutch in them big moments, and hopefully if he can come off the bench tonight and do a job, I think that'd be fantastic. But look, we will wrap up that preview here for today. Thanks very much for everyone for watching. Hope you all enjoy the game wherever you are. We hopefully will enjoy the game here at Old Trafford. Thanks very much, Darragh, for coming over and meet us over at Old Trafford. And look, for everyone else, obviously do smash like the video, do subscribe, and do catch our match reaction tonight immediately after the game around 10 p.m. 10:15. And do catch Jill, Vicky and Kevin on that show. But until then, guys, thanks very much for your support.